Hello everyone! Welcome back to the Cozy Chair and welcome back for our Disney celebration. Today we are going to start with kind of a fun game. I want to know if you know all of the names of the Seven Dwarves. Do you know all their names? I'm going to hold this up here and you tell me what their names are. Do you know them? Do you know who this one is? Do you know? I bet you know this one. Yeah. What about that one? Do you know who that is? And what about the one with the glasses? Okay, let's try this. I'm going to say their names and you point to them, okay? Which one is Doc? Did you find him? Which one is Dopey? When I was your age, Dopey was my favorite. What about Grumpy? Do you know where Grumpy is? And Happy? Can you touch Happy's face? And Bashful. Bashful. What about Sneezy? And last one of all, Sleepy. Did you get them all right? Well, we'll see. I'm going to point to them and tell you their names. And then you can tell me if you got them all right. This one is Doc. He's the one with the glasses. And Bashful. And Sneezy. You can tell this is Sneezy because of his big nose. He's getting ready to sneeze all the time. And Grumpy, of course. Dopey. And Sleepy. He makes me sleepy just looking at him. And Happy. That's the one I love the very most. I love people that are happy. Well, today we are going to read Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I'm going to be reading for Ella. Hello, Ella. I hope that you like this book. This is another one of our little golden books. Remember, we've read lots of those. And this one is published by Random House, and the cover illustration is by Don Williams. Now, I've had this book for a long time. My kids have kind of written on it a little bit, but that shows me that I've had this book for a long time and that we've read it lots and lots of times. Long ago, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a lovely young princess named Snow White. Her stepmother, the queen, was cruel and vain. She hated anyone whose beauty rivaled her own, and she watched her stepdaughter with angry, jealous eyes. Do you know what it means to be jealous? It means that you want something that somebody else has. Well, she's not jealous of something. She's jealous of Snow White's beautiful face. It's not fun to be jealous. The queen had magic powers and owned a wondrous mirror that spoke every day she stood before it and asked, "Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" And every day that mirror answered, "You are the fairest one of all, O queen, the fairest our eyes have ever seen." As time passed, Snow White grew more and more beautiful, and the queen grew more and more envious. Now, when you're envious and jealous, you're not beautiful. So she forced the princess to dress in rags and work from dawn to dusk. Despite all the hard work, Snow White stayed sweet, gentle, and cheerful. Day after day she washed and swept and scrubbed, and day after day she dreamed of a handsome prince who would come and carry her off to his castle. One day when the queen spoke to her mirror, it replied with the news that she had been dreading. There was now someone even more beautiful than the queen. And do you want to guess who that person was? Who do you think it is? You're right. That person was Snow White. Oh, she is not happy about that news. The queen sent for her huntsman. "Take Snow White deep into the forest," she said, "and there, my faithful huntsman, you will kill her." The man begged the queen to have mercy, but she would not be persuaded. "Silence," she warned. "You know the penalty if you fail." Oh no. The next day, Snow White never suspected that she was in danger. She went off with the huntsman. When they were deep in the woods, the huntsman drew his knife. Then suddenly he fell to his knees. "I can't do it," he sobbed. "Forgive me." He told Snow White what the queen had told him to do, and the queen had ordered this. "The queen," gasped Snow White. "She's jealous of you," said the huntsman. "She'll stop at nothing. Quick, run away and never come back. I'll lie to the queen. Now, run!" Frightened Snow White fled through the woods. Branches tore at her clothes, sharp twigs scratched her arms and legs, strange eyes stared from the shadows. Danger lurked everywhere. Snow White ran on and on. She was very frightened to be all alone in the woods. At last Snow White fell wearily to the ground and began to weep. The gentle animals of the forest gathered around and tried to comfort her. Chirping and chattering, they led her to a tiny cottage. "Oh," said Snow White, "it's adorable, just like a dollhouse. Do you guys remember who lives there?" "You're right, the Seven Dwarfs." But she doesn't know that. But inside, the little tables and chairs were covered with dust, and the sink was filled with dirty dishes. "My," said Snow White, "perhaps the children who live here are orphans and need someone to take care of them. Maybe they'll let me stay and keep house for them." The animals all helped, and soon the place was neat and tidy. Do you remember what song she sings when she does this? She sings "Whistle While You Work." Sometimes I do that when I'm working. I whistle. Meanwhile, the seven dwarfs who lived in the cottage were heading home from the mine where they worked. There they are. See them? Do you remember their names? You can touch them and say their names if you want. There they are. Hi-ho, hi-ho. They're heading home. The dwarves were amazed to find their house so clean. They were even more amazed when they went upstairs and saw Snow White. "It's a girl," said Doc. "She's beautiful," sighed Bashful. "Ah," said Grumpy, "she's gonna be trouble. Mark my words." He's just always grumpy, isn't he? Snow White awoke with a start and saw the dwarves gathered around her. "Ah, why, you're not little children," she said. "You're little men. I read your names on the beds," she continued. "Let me guess who you are. You're Doc, and you're Bashful, and you're Sleepy, you're Sneezy, and you're Happy, and you're Dopey, and so you must be Grumpy." Do you see that fun page? This is my little girl's favorite page because she likes to touch all of their faces. I'm going to read this one more time and you point to who I'm saying, okay? Let me guess who you are. You're Doc, and you're Bashful, you're Sleepy, and you're Sneezy, and you're Happy, and Dopey, and you must be Grumpy. Good job, guys! While Snow White told the dwarves about the queen's plan to kill her, they decided that she should stay with them. "We're asking for trouble," huffed Grumpy. "But we can't let her get caught by that wicked queen," said Doc. The others agreed. That night after supper, they all sang and danced and made merry music. Bashful played with the concertina, Happy tapped the drums, Sleepy tooted his horn, Grumpy played the organ, and Dopey wiggled his ears. Now, I can't wiggle my ears. I know some kids can. If you can wiggle your ears, you should do it. And send me a picture. Snow White loved her new friends, and she felt safe at last. Uh-oh, I wonder who this is. Meanwhile, the queen had learned from her mirror that Snow White was still alive. With a magic spell, she turned herself into an old peddler woman. She filled a basket with apples, putting a poison apple on top. "One bite," she cackled, "and Snow White will sleep forever. Then I'll be the fairest in the land." Oh, that wicked queen. The next morning, before they left for the mine, the dwarves warned Snow White to be on her guard. "Don't let nobody know nothing in the house," said Grumpy. "Oh, Grumpy," said Snow White, "you do care." "I'll be careful, I promise." She kissed him at him and the others goodbye, and the dwarves went cheerfully off to work. A few minutes later, the queen came to the kitchen window. "Making pies, dearie?" she asked. It's apple pies the men love. Here, taste one of these. She held the poisoned apple out to Snow White. Snow White remembered the dwarf's warning, but the woman looked harmless and the apple looked so delicious. Snow White bit the apple, then, with a sigh, she fell to the floor. Told by the birds and animals that something was wrong, the dwarves raced back to the cottage. They saw the queen sneaking off and they ran after her. As storm clouds gathered and rain began to fall, the dwarves chased the queen to the top of a high rocky mountain. Crack! There was a flash of lightning and the evil queen fell to her doom below. Uh-oh, there she goes. But it was too late for Snow White. She was so beautiful, even in death, that the dwarves could not bear to part with her. They built her a coffin of glass and gold, and day and night they kept watch over their beloved princess. Do you see them? They built a glass coffin so that they could still see her. One day a handsome prince came riding through the forest. As soon as he saw Snow White, he fell in love with her. Kneeling by her coffin, he kissed her. Snow White sat up, blinked, and smiled. The prince's kiss had broken the evil spell. As the dwarves danced with joy, the prince carried Snow White off to his castle, where they lived happily ever after. Oh my goodness! What did you think about that story? Do you know what I think? I think that the wicked queen, even though on the outside she looked like this, on the inside she really did look like this. We can tell by somebody's actions if they're nice and sweet and kind. It makes them beautiful. And if they're envious and mean and jealous, they're really not very beautiful on the inside, huh? Well, I hope that you enjoyed this story of Snow White. And I hope you'll come back because we just have a few books left. And remember, I have a surprise at the very end of Disney Week. It's a surprise book that you haven't seen yet, so be sure to keep coming back. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Hello everyone, it's Snow White here at Disneyland. I heard you like to read books. Maybe you can come read a bedtime story to the dwarves sometime. It's my favorite thing to do. Bye. Bye.